doing?
Great!
I wish I actually came up before it. You know, when they're doing things so big, it's like, man, can I really do it? You know, and so it's just really exciting to be here, to have the opportunity to speak. I've never been up here. I've been coming here for a long time, watching Mike, and so I'd like to thank him for being able to put us up here today and the opportunity to represent our team in Los Angeles. I also wanted to thank Ben and Arlene for being there for us, mentoring us. Our RVP uplines, Stewie and Marlene Cass, for always being there for us also. I'd like to thank my wife, Christina, who's in the back with our 6-month-old. You know, we're trying to build this business for the family. And I think everybody who comes into this business, that's what it is that they're looking for. Our team is here, and I'm so happy to represent the team. Rod, RJ, Robert, and Joy. They're really the team leaders who are making this happen for us. We're a group of people that come from all different walks of life, but we do have one thing in common with our team, is that we do want to have a better life. My family, they weren't from the United States. How many here are actually from the United States? Wow, all of you now, right? Right? But a lot of us, our parents and our parents' parents, they immigrated from another country, and they came here because they wanted a better life. My dad, he came here back in the late 1960s, and he wanted to have a better life for his family. He came from Thailand, and he went to school here, and then he finished school, and he wanted to do something good over here, but he didn't have his papers, so he was working in restaurants, hiding from immigration, right? And then eventually he was able to get his papers by opening up a Thai restaurant. Anybody ever eat Thai food? Yeah. My dad opened up one of the very first Thai restaurants in the early 1970s in Hollywood, and there would be lines coming out around the restaurant, and my dad made good money. The only thing is nobody ever taught him what to do with his money, right? And then he found himself making money, spending money, and never really getting ahead, but just getting by. And then one day this lady walked into my dad's restaurant and started talking to him about planning for the future. And my dad said, you know, what's this all about? And it turned out that they started talking to him about insurance. My dad, he already had an insurance policy, and then he sat down with the lady because she was a customer. And so he didn't want to, you know, get rid of customers, so she's like, okay, I'll sit down with you. And she told him, what do you have right now? He said, I have a $70,000 policy, I'm paying $80 a month. And this lady said, well, what if I could give you something better? And so she provided him from a $70,000 of coverage to $100,000 and brought his payment from $80 down to $40. My dad said, okay, I'll go ahead with the program. And about a year later, my dad he was cooking for us one night, and he went home, and he woke up about 1 o'clock in the morning, and he had some trouble breathing. And all of a sudden, he knocked down on the floor. We called the paramedics. They came by. Good thing they were only about two minutes away from our home. Came by, took my dad over to Hollywood Presbyterian, and about an hour later, the doctors came out, told my mom that they couldn't save him. And I lost my dad when I was 14 years old. I had a younger brother, he was 10 years old, and an older brother who just finished high school. And we were wondering what's going to happen. There's 3 boys. My mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, and she was never working outside of the house. And the only thing that we had was that $100,000 of life insurance. And my mom had some brothers who lived in Thailand. They were saying, come home, you know, bring the kids back to Thailand. And then now that I think about it, I was wondering, would my dad really want us to go back from the place that he left? And I think, no, he wouldn't. He wanted us to be here. And so my mom ultimately decided to stay. She invested that $100,000, and with the $100,000, it grew to more than double. My brother was able to continue school. He went to college. He ended up going to USC and finishing. I went to USC. I finished. My youngest brother went to Loyola Marymount University, and he finished. And so all three of us, we were able to finish college because my parents had life insurance. And when I graduated college, I said to myself, well, what am I going to do now? You know, I find that a lot of college students, when they're done, they don't really know what to do. But one thing that was always in the back of my mind was that had happened to me. And I said to myself, well, I need to learn about these things. And so I walked into Ben's Primerica office in Los Angeles, and then I asked him, can you teach me these things? and because I wanted to know. And we've been here ever since. And just the little backstory behind that is that $100,000 life insurance policy is a Primerica policy. Through Primerica, through the Lake Mason family of funds. You see? And so when it was invested like that, I saw that the money was growing. It didn't make us rich, right? It didn't make us rich, but what it did is it kept us going until we were able to take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I knew that that's what it was all about, mm-hmm. right? My dad, he wanted us to be here. He wanted us to be raised in the right type of environment. And that's the kind of life that I want to have for my family. I remember growing up, you know, we would grow up with bars on our homes, right? I just thought it was, you know, I thought it was like everybody grew up with bars around their homes, right? But when I finally left, and I was like, really? There are houses without bars? And then I would go, I would have to walk to school and then walk back, but many times I would run because I didn't want to get mugged. Because I had gotten, you know, people take my wallet, people would give me a knife point, right? When I was growing up, and I didn't want to have that. And so today, I want to be able to raise our family in the right type of environment. Our goal with our team is, with the hierarchy, with Ben's hierarchy, is to have 12 RVPs in 2012, 12. We're going to be going over to Vegas, and we wanted to set up a big event where we can do promotions, and I want to be one of those RVPs in 2012 by December. Right now our recruiting is up 153%, our licensing is up 300%. We want to go from 40 codes to 120 codes. That's what we're looking for, and I know that it's a stretch, but we got to have a big vision for that. I put my trust into our RVPs. That Ben's like a father figure to me. He's helped me, you know, all these years in teaching me from that time that I walked in, and I said, you know, please, you know, show me what this is all about. I heard Karma the other day. She said, don't let money be the issue, that you don't have a lot of different experiences. And I want to be able to live life to the fullest. I know that I only know what I know because of what I know. That's what Daniel Alonso always tells me. And because that's all I know that there's a lot for me to learn. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is when I was at USC, I learned a lot from people who had college degrees. And to tell you the truth, when I come out, you know, these years later, I can't remember anything that they taught me. I don't remember anything, right? But what I do know is that when I'm here at Primerica, I learn things from so many people who don't have that piece of paper. I learned things from people like Jose Batalla, who was a trash truck driver. He's teaching me. I learned things from Noemi Rubio. Her English is broken, but her pocket isn't. Right? I learned things from people like Hago Martinian. He only had a 6th grade education, right? And he's teaching me and he's mentoring me. And so I'm still learning. I learned things from Mario. I remember when Mario Arizona first came up, every other sentence he had was freaking this, freaking that, right? And I was like, wow. And now he's talking. I've seen how much he's developed over time, and he just like he just whizzed right by. And I learned especially from our RVP band, who has some hard sayings sometimes. He tells. If we're not in the warm market, he tells us, go and talk to 100 people a day until you have 4 or 5 appointments a day. And I say, man, this is hard sayings that he makes to me. And how am I supposed to do that? And I'm just going to leave you with an account in the Gospel of John. And this is when Jesus, who by the way, he's the best recruiter that ever lived. Right? He's the best recruiter that ever lived. He was teaching some teachings. He was preaching to the people, and and some of his disciples came to him, and they said to him, "These are hard sayings that you're making. How are we going to do it? The things that you say." And they leave him. And so Jesus turns to his apostles, and then he says to them, "Are you also going to leave?" And Peter, who's the head of the disciples, he says, "Well, where are we going to go? Where else are we going to go?" And I think that about us when our RVPs are telling us things, and we're saying, these are hard things that you're telling us. And we really have to say to ourselves, well, where are we going to go? Right? Where else are we going to go? They led on to lead, these 12 ordinary men, led on to lead extraordinary lives by doing extraordinary things, even though they were ordinary. Over here, we're a bunch of ordinary people, and we too one day can lead extraordinary lives doing extraordinary things. Thanks everybody for your time.
Great job. Good job.